Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live in the color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And welcome to a very special edition of the show here tonight where this is, I'll be honest, this is an episode that it kind of just sprang up on me. And there's numerous reasons for that. Number one, Betty White actually passed away on New Year's Eve of course, the last day of last year. And I was saddened to hear that because I loved Betty White, whether it be on the show I'm talking about tonight, whether it be in movies like, Lake Placid or the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And I was saddened to hear her death. And I was like, man, like maybe down the road I do a Golden Girls tribute show. And, the second reason, probably the most important reason I decided to do this show here tonight was my grandmother. This is going to be her first birthday where she's not here. And this was her all-time favorite sitcom. And I used to watch this with her. I mean, literally almost every night. Like we'd watch this show on the Hallmark channel or the Lifetime channel, or there's so many channels we watch this. Hell, even the country music TV channel, which sucks, but they did have Golden Girl, reruns. So it was pretty cool. But, I figured it was crazy because her birthday would have been this Sunday. And it's crazy enough, Betty White's birthday would have been the following day, the 17th. So pretty crazy. And I figured, I was like, you know what? What better time to kind of pay tribute to not just the Golden Girls, but my grandmother. And that's really why this show came to be tonight. And I figured pay tribute to the Golden Girls, pay tribute to my lovely grandmother who's no longer with us. And I figured, I was like, there's no better time to do this. I figured, why not? Why not do a Golden Girls tribute show? And it's funny because I know a lot of people, when I announced this, I got a lot of messages from people being like, what the hell? Why are you getting away from horror this week? What are you doing Golden Girls for? And I it's a fair question, but it's almost like what AJ says to me all the time. AJ always says, Grande, you're an old soul. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. I am an old soul. And I think a big part of that is my late grandmother. I think the reason I am the old soul that I am is primarily because of her, and probably a big reason because of this show. I watched the Golden Girls at such a young age, and it always just put a smile on my face, made me laugh. And to this day, I think it's super relevant in pop culture and in society. And you see all of these shirts, no matter where you go. Of course, I put this on Instagram, the vote here tonight. And I did purple or pink. I'll be honest, it ended in a tie. So I flipped a coin and purple won. So no problemo. This was the other shirt. And granted, this is a little wrinkled. So I didn't get to end up wearing this one, Stay Golden, which I love this shirt. My sister got me this shirt. But I ended up going with this one. My good buddy Brian got me this one, which it's pretty funny. I love the Sophia shirt and holding the stuffed animal. I thought it was pretty funny. So it did end in a tie. That's why I went with this one. I've just flipped the coin to be fair, and this one came out on top. So that is what it is. Britt is in the house. Britt, it's been such a long time since I've seen your name. How are you? I'm so happy to see you. Welcome to the graveyard. I'm literally watching the show right now. How ironic. Really? I think this irony means great things are in store for you and me. Hearts. Oh, Britt, thank you. You're the best. Thank you so much. Mateo Appendino is here. Ciao, Grande. Don't know anything about the Golden Girls other than Betty White. I am here to learn. Dude, I promise I will do the best I can do to teach you tonight, man, because I love this show, and it's one of my all-time favorites. Thank you for checking out the show tonight. Rest in heaven, Abuela Grande. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. I always used to watch the Golden Girls as a child at my grandmother's dinner table, too. Really? It's funny. Like, I know quite a few people my age that do like this show. And they grew up with this show. And it's very odd because it's basically a show of four women as the lead, and they're all 50 years plus. Just in this house in Miami, day in and day out, the problems they encounter, their, internal conflicts. And then, of course, I think most importantly, the thing that about this show that speaks the loudest of volumes to me is their friendship. This is a show about friendship. And that's why I always loved the Golden Girls. I think it's just a beautiful friendship and chemistry between the four. Of course, at the time, this was sort of a daring show to, pitch, if you will. The producers at the time, they were trying to come up with the next big hit after The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show really had taken over the early 80s into the mid 80s. That was the show. And it's a great sitcom, whether, no matter how you look at Bill Cosby now, that show, when it was on, was the biggest show on television. It really, truly was. And producers of this, they pitched the idea of 4 women in a Miami home, kind of, going through, like I said before, the day-to-day problems and interactions and stuff like that. They pitched it to them and said, hey, that sounds like kind of a funny idea. Why don't we get a cast together? So they went out to get cast members. And the first one they found was a rookie actress, none other than Estelle Getty, who's my favorite personal Golden Girl, Sophia. And she had never acted in her life until her 50s, until she auditioned for this. And she sort of plays the wisecracking mother of Bea Arthur's character. And I just absolutely love her, the Italian grandmother. And it's funny because it was a stretch for Estelle Getty. I mean, Estelle Getty was a Jewish actress. She had never acted 50 plus years into her life. All of a sudden, she's thrown into the show as one of the 4 primary characters, and she has to completely play against type. She has to play the over-the-top Italian grandmother, and she just absolutely knocks it out of the park. And I remember when I was a kid, that was the big reason I kept coming back to the show, was Sophia, because I always wanted to hear what was going to come out of her mouth next. It was just always so raunchy and out there, and you would just laugh. You'd be like, oh my God, she was the one in the room that would say what everyone else was maybe thinking but afraid to say. She would come out and say it. And that's why I always, thought Sophia was just the funniest of the cast. And Estelle Getty did such a wonderful job in the role. She really did. And I know it got her a role with Sylvester Stallone, I believe, in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. So she was a big part of why this show worked. And then, of course, they casted Betty White. And initially, Betty White, what people don't remember is Betty White was cast as Blanche. And a lot of people don't know that, but Betty White was cast as Blanche's character, which is the Southern belle who is very promiscuous and very into sex. And she will tell you all about that on the show. If you've watched even one episode, we all know how over the top and sexual and pervert Blanche Devereaux is. But the beauty of it is Rue McClanahan came in and said, hey, I like that Blanche role. I really think that's more of something I should play. And the producer said, no, well, Betty White, she played Sue Ann Nibbins on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and we want her to play this character. She can play this sort of character. We want you to play the, quote unquote, dumb one. We want you to play Rose. And she said, okay, I don't agree, but okay. And she grabbed Betty White before they were about to audition with each other. And of course, Betty White this time was Blanche. Rue McClanahan was Rose. And she grabbed her and said, hey, would you mind trying to switch this? And Betty White was, I'm not familiar with the lines for Rose. And she said, please give me 5 minutes. We'll go over them. And let's just see what they say. And they went out there, they auditioned, and the producers looked at each other and were like, oh my God, like Rue is completely right. We've got to switch this, because I think it's an interesting challenge for Betty White as an actress to play a different type of role than the Sue Ann Nibbins character on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, who was a little bit obnoxious, a little bit of a know-it-all. The Sue Ann Nibbins character was the complete opposite of what Betty White was in real life and what Betty White was on this show. And I think it was the perfect call from Rue McClanahan to switch that. And Rue nails it. She added the Southern accent. The character wasn't initially Southern. She added the whole Southern belle thing and the twang. Blanche Devereaux. And my name is Blanche Devereaux. It may not apply at the moment, but I am double jointed. I mean, fucking hilarious. Rue McClanahan, one of the ultimate Golden Girls. I love Rue on the show. And Betty White is perhaps the most endearing. And I think that you look back and see why so many people love Betty White. And when she passed away recently, how many people, I'm so sad about Betty White. She's just such an endearing woman. There's just something about her that's just so likable. And Rose, I think, is the pinnacle of that. It's the innocence. It's the, naiveness. And this woman who's been through all of these years and problems and seen all these horrible things, she's still sort of naive to it all. She has the mind of a child. And I think that's what makes her so endearing as the Rose Nyland character. I absolutely adore Betty White. Let me get to a couple more of these comments. Definitely 100% facts. Thank you. Miss C's in the house. Hey, Grande, R.I.P. Betty, Estelle, Beatrice, and Rue, a.k.a. Rose, Sophia, Dorothy, and Blanche. Absolutely. May they all rest in peace. I hope they're all eating cheesecake in heaven right now. That's when Rose, Betty White died, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, I hope the four of them are in heaven somewhere, kicking back, talking about the Golden Girls somewhere. I hope so. We got some love Blanche, can't just pick one. R.I.P. Betty. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I can't just pick one either. Like I'll be honest, Sophia is my favorite, but I think that's the beauty of this show. But we're gonna get into Bea Arthur, but I think all four of them are the reason it works. All four of them are the glue that holds this thing together. And I think even without one of them, I don't know if it would have been the same show. And case in point was the spinoff, The Golden Palace, which came out after the Golden Girls series ended after 7 years. Of course, Rue, Betty, and Estelle Getty, they all wanted to keep working. And they said, hey, why don't we do a spinoff show where we're in this hotel and we're running the hotel? And they got some great supporting roles, supporting characters. Don Cheadle in an early role, Cheech Marin, post Cheech and Chong. Of course, you had actors like Jack Black make their debut on the Golden Palace. That was an interesting show because they tried to move on without Bea Arthur. And unfortunately, the ratings, it bombed. It really bombed. And I think the reason it bombed is because you can't do the Golden Girls without Bea Arthur. And I'm not saying she's the most important. I don't think you could do the Golden Girls without Betty White. I don't think you could do the Golden Girls without Rue McClanahan. I don't think you could do the Golden Girls without Estelle Getty. You get the picture. It's the four of them. And it's the four of them or nothing. You just can't move on without the other. And that's why I really love this show. You don't get the sense of a main character. They're the four equally main characters. And that was really well tackled, I think, by the writers. There's never a sense of, oh, okay, of course, Betty White's going to be put on the back burner. This is going to be all about Blanche. No, not at all. Not at all at all. I hope as I get older, I'm a cross between Sophia and Blanche. Excellent. Okay. We do have a Sophia and Blanche episode on the top 10 here. So stay tuned to that. I see myself as a Dorothy. LOL. I'm just so curmudgeonly. Yeah, no. I don't know. Which Golden Girl would I be most fucking like? I think I'm like purposely naive sometimes, like Rose. And I don't think anybody is as wisecracking as Sophia Petrillo. I guess I'm more Dorothy too. I don't like across between Dorothy and Rose. I definitely think I have the sense of wonder that Rose has, but I think that like maturity, I think I'm at a Dorothy. I don't know though. I couldn't really say. I never really thought about that, to be perfectly honest. But let me, of course, Bea Arthur was the big star that they got for this show. She had been on Maude, of course, with Rue McClanahan years and years before this, and she was a theater actress on Broadway. And Bea Arthur was just a tremendous actress. And once they got her, they got a name really to sell it. This is somebody that people know because people knew Betty White. They knew Rue McClanahan. Estelle Getty was a complete unknown, but Bea Arthur was really the selling name on this. That really, her name being attached to it, got the ball rolling. And she didn't want to play a character similar to Maude. She wanted to play a different type of character. And Dorothy Spornak, I think, is one of the best Bea Arthur characters. Probably my favorite. I love how wise she is. I love that of the group, she's probably the one that gets the most shit. But her story, her arc, ends the most happy and perfect. I just adore Bea Arthur on the show. I think she does a great job. So that is really the story of how it came to be. And then, of course, we'll get into some of these episodes. But it's just, I think, the perfect cast, the perfect ensemble cast of these four women that came together at the right place at the right time. Of course, you had the right director, Mr. Terry Hughes. He directed a lot of these Golden Girls episodes. He was a British Knights. He was a British director, a television and stage director, and they got him, and he had the right style and flair, and they made sure that they delivered the lines right. If you notice, without him, the show lost a little something too. And even I think Estelle Getty, or it might have been Rue, said that he was the fifth Golden Girl, Terry Hughes. His direction was just spot on when it comes to comedic humor because he had come from the background of British television, which is very witty and quick and smart. And, you know, I think that he was a big key to this show's success, because after season 4, without him, the sometimes the timing, the comedic timing doesn't land quite as the same as it did when he was directing. I do think he played a big role. And I think one of the smartest things the producers did was they made sure that the writers were older, right? Because if we have a bunch of young 20, and this is coming from a young 25-year-old, so don't be I'm not trying to be ageist, if you will, but the producers walked in the room, they saw all these young writers, and somebody said, hey, where's the gray hair? Where's the white hair? We got too much youth in here. These people are not going to be able to write for older 50-plus-year-old women. They don't know. They don't know what it is, the day in and day out struggle. We got to bring in some fucking maturity, some experience. And they did that. And that adds the authentic feel that I think the Golden Girls has as a whole. And I think that's why, you know, all of these things sort of came together. The right cast, the right director, the right writers. And I think we're on the perfect time, right when the Cosby Show was in its peak. This show came out and it just set the world on fire. This was number 2 to the Cosby Show for a long time. And people were loving to love this show, old and young, when it came out. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. That's awesomely insightful, Grande. Thank you. Well, yeah, I know. Funny, right? He's British and British Knights. I don't know. Just a heads up, be watching for the bots. They were on another channel earlier. Yeah, I see we have one here. I'm just going to ignore it, Miss C. I don't know. Of course, leave it to bots to ruin a Golden Girls / grandmother tribute show. But I don't know. Just ignore them. Hopefully they go away. But I made a top 10 list. I made a top 10 list here tonight. And I figure we go through some of these episodes, some of my favorite episodes of the Golden Girls. Granted, there's so many good ones to pick from, so it was tough. But before I get into that, I just want to say cheers to the Golden Girls in heaven. As well as my grandmother, cheers to her in heaven. I hope somehow, some way she could see this. It would mean a lot to me. But you know, cheers to all of them, because it really, it's one of my favorite shows of all time. And without my grandmother, I would have never been introduced to this. And without them, I don't know if this show would have worked the way it works. I try and watch. Oh, sorry, I don't know why it didn't. I try and watch the show from a perspective of what went into the writing scripts and how many takes they had to take, but they all made it so realistic it doesn't even seem like a show sometimes. Yeah, no, that's the truth. And what I think is so beautiful about it is, you know, the organic chemistry they had. Like, you would have bought that they really were friends in real life for all this time. You know, it's absolutely wild. Yes, top 10. We're getting there. We're totally. Cheers to, thank you, Britt, Miss C, everyone's in the house. Cheers to everybody. I don't have anything. I'm not drinking water right now. I did drink one earlier. I'm still on the no soda kick. So I'm trying. I think I lost a little bit of weight in my face. At least I hope I did. But if I had some cheesecake, I would be celebrating with that, because that's what the Golden Girls would do. So cheers to them. Without further ado, we're going to get my top 10 list up on the old phone here. And all right, coming in at number 10, this is To Catch a Neighbor. Yes, To Catch a Neighbor from season 2. This is a fun one, and this is a really underrated one in my opinion. Basically, this one, the girls have their neighbors over for dinner, and their neighbors are not what they seem to be. Of course, they get a knock on the door after the neighbors leave, and it's a cop, and his deputy is actually played by George Clooney, in a very, very young, early role for George Clooney. He shows up in this, and it's really cool to see him. So young, you know, dark black haired, amazing to see George Clooney. And they say, hey, you know, your neighbors, they're not who they seem. They're jewel thieves. And we want to see if maybe we could stay here, do a stakeout, and maybe see if you guys can plant a bug in their house. And there's all these antics between them trying to figure out how they're going to do it. And it's hilarious, man. I just absolutely love this one. It's a lot of fun. You have a sort of romance going on between Dorothy and the lead policeman, which is fun. You have Sophia kind of making fun of the guy as he's listening to the frequencies. She doesn't think he can hear her. So she's like, hey, you dumb big gut basagaloop, you know, making fun of this guy. Absolutely just hilarious. I love that. And there's the great part where they have to go into their house and plant the bug. And they do. And Rose is like, oh, let me listen in. And she's listening. She's like, oh, they keep making fun of that Nimrod in the red dress. I wonder who they're talking about. She's wearing a red dress. I mean, just classic Rose. But this one gets sort of serious towards the end. They have their neighbors, they're having the whole jewel exchange, and George Clooney and the cop, they run out to stop them, and you hear a gunshot, and you're like, oh my God. And, the main cop runs back in, and he's like, listen, I need an ambulance. My partner's been shot. They shoot George Clooney, and it's crazy. But there's a great scene in the hospital where he's recovering and all is well. And Dorothy kind of tells the main guy, she says, listen, like, I could get serious about you, but what you do is serious work and you could get hurt. And I don't want to, be hurt myself. So maybe it's best that we kind of push this thing along, that not all that is gold glitters, if you will. And she sort of has to push him away. Very, very emotional. I really like it. Looking great, glowing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All I had to see was Golden Girls, sup Grande, Red Rusty in the house. What's up, brother? Bea Arthur was a goddess of comedy. My dad used to freak out when I was 5, laughing my butt off to the reruns of Maude. He didn't understand, nor did I. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Red Rusty, hope all is well with you tonight, brother. But there's another scene in this episode that I really liked. While the main story is Dorothy and this head policeman, there's a great scene with George Clooney and Rue McClanahan, where George Clooney, he's laying down in one of the rooms getting ready for bed, and Rue comes in there. And it's a shame. I will say, I have the DVDs of a lot of these. It's a shame on syndicated television, they cut a lot of these scenes out. Like if you watch that episode on TV, they cut that scene out, which is, I think, one of the best scenes in the episode. But if you want to watch them uncut, the DVDs are the best way to go. She goes to George Clooney and he says, hey, I just want to say thank you. You guys have all been so nice to us and kind. And she says, oh, no problem, honey. And he goes, hey, if it's all the same to you when we're done doing this, he said, could I possibly stop by for a home cooked meal? I miss my mother. I miss my family doing all this police work. And it would be nice to have this. And Rue, kind of like a motherly figure, says, absolutely, honey. And it's just, I don't know. Sometimes this show had just such great heart. And I love that because it easily, like the producers or whoever airs this show now on television, they cut that right out. They said, oh, well, that's not important. It is important. That's why the Golden Girls works. It's heart. There's a lot of heart there. It's a very small scene between a small side character and then, of course, the great Rue McClanahan. But I love that that's thrown in there. And it's just nice, a nice heart, feel-good moment for me. John Steele's in the house. Oh, yeah. John Steele, cheers to you, brother. Hope all is well with you tonight. In the new Resident Evil movie, the head nurse at the orphanage is watching Golden Girls. Movie was all right. Labyrinth UFC breakdown. Welcome to my graveyard. Hope all is well with you tonight, brother. And very fun fact there. I honestly didn't watch the new Resident Evil movie. I heard some pretty horrible things. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get to it. I like, what the hell is the actor's name in that? He was also in The Duff. Oh, shit. I can't think of his damn name, but I don't mind that actor in that. So I don't the lead actress was in Crawl, and I liked that movie. I liked her. So I don't know. I'd have to give that a look maybe somewhere down the road, but I've heard a lot of warnings. That show is filled with heart. Nowadays, you won't find that. Golden Girls will make you want to call the ones you love. Yes, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. And like, that's the beautiful thing about this show. It's the heart. And like, it blew my mind when I was watching the episode once and I saw it was cut on TV. I was like, son of a bitch, they cut that. And I remember my grandmother was sitting with me and she said, did they? And she was like, I don't remember the scene you're talking about. And I immediately busted out the DVD and she was like, how could they cut that? And I'm like, exactly. I don't know. I will say on a weird note, it was weird watching these again without her. Like it's odd because like I always watch this with her, like it was our thing. We'd have like sherbet and just talk about our day or whatever. Golden Girls would be on talking between commercials. And I don't know, like it was really like sort of sad watching these without her. I was like, damn, like it just felt like something was missing. And it was really her, it's just like, I don't know. It made me sad. Betty and Rue were also in recurring roles on Mama's Family. Rue is Mama's sister. Yes, that's true. Absolutely. And Rue worked with Bea Arthur on Maude, and also Betty worked with Bea Arthur on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Or wait, no, Bea Arthur wasn't on it. I don't know, maybe in a cameo, but she played a similar character to what she was going to play on this. Rue was awesome in one of her last roles in the Sordid Lives series. She was just the same despite her health problems showing, but it was so hilarious in it. Oh man, that's hard. See, Rue McClanahan, I think, was just so great. I think she's honestly the one that deserved the better fate when it comes to her career after this, because she devoted so much of her life to it. And she really went all out for this role. And this show, fun fact, would have ended after 5 seasons because Bea Arthur was going to leave after season 5. And she talked her into signing a 2-year contract. She was like, you can't leave. We're on fire. Please don't leave. And Rue McClanahan's the reason we have a season 6 and 7. So, I think the world of Rue. I really do. Season 1 of Mama's Family, I forgot to add, they left to be on the Golden Girls. Okay. My parents, Ben Grimm's in the house. Ben Grimm, what's up, buddy? My parents weren't really into it. Funny enough, my exposure to Golden Girls came from a girl I dated freshman year of college who was way into the show. Wow, that's so funny. She put it on before. Wow, that is absolutely crazy. See, it's fun to see how, we all come to watch this show, because it's odd, especially for people that aren't up there in age. Like, people are like, why would you watch the Golden Girls? Like, you're a young boy, it's just like the answer, it doesn't matter. It's funny. It's fantastically done. And, people be like, oh, how do you relate to it? You don't have to relate to it. It's a show about friendship. That's what's so great about it. I think anybody can relate to that that's truly had a great friend in their lives. And by the way, I guess I had to show them, I am paying tribute to Betty White with the socks. I had to, do something for Betty White especially. So I had the Betty White socks on. I'm rocking those on the graveyard tonight. But without further ado, I guess we can get into number 9. Let me pull up the old list here again. Oh boy, this is a great one. My Brother, My Father from season 3. This is one of the funniest episodes of this entire show. Of course, this one tells the story of Uncle Angelo, of course, Sophia's relative. He is a priest and he comes to visit for the weekend. Now, the only thing that he doesn't know is that Dorothy and, of course, her ex-husband Stan are just that. They're divorced. And, of course, Stan is great on the show, played by Herb Hedelman. He's just fantastic as Stan, one of the reoccurring characters on this show. Really funny. He just plays this sleazeball, like a very unlikable character, but he does it really good with a sort of charm to it. He comes over and assumes that they're still married. So Sophia, for the weekend, pays them both money to pretend like they're still married. And there's some great back and forth between the two, but the absolute highlight of the episode is Rose and Blanche are in a theater play, and there's this great storm coming, and they come back dressed as nuns, and they come in and they're all fucking, with the clothes in their hand, and they're soaked. And Angelo's in the kitchen. He's like, who are you? And of course, without missing a beat, Rose and Blanche, I'm Sister Rose. I'm Sister Blanche. And what are you doing there? We're collecting clothes for needy, sexy people. And it's fucking hilarious, dude. Like, the amazing, and the guy's face, and somebody says, we're going to be stuck in here for a whole week. And Rue McClanahan goes, oh, Jesus. And everybody just stops because she's supposed to be a nun, right? Everybody stops, and Angelo's face is in horror. He's like, oh my God. And she goes, oh, Jesus, please protect us from these hard times. And everybody just looks at her just like, oh my God, praying along with Rue. Absolutely hilarious stuff. I love it. And the uncle, he's great. Angelo is absolutely fantastic. I don't know the actor's name, but his accent made me howl laughing. Like, he discusses that the whole time where he's pretending to be a priest, he's actually pretending to be a priest. He wasn't. He had left the priesthood, even though he promised his mama on the deathbed that she would be a priest. And of course, he was going to do it. And then this woman walked in front of him that she had her behind so round. It made you want to get on your knees and thank the Lord, and of course he marries this woman and thus cannot be a priest. So he was absolutely hilarious in this episode. The accent absolutely killed me. Like, he was fucking spot on as pretending to be one thing when he's really a fraud. And it kind of, comes full circle where Dorothy and Stan are pretending to be husband and wife. They come clean about it. And, he says, are you mad at us, that we're not married? And he goes, no, I never liked him. He's a yutz. So even he never liked Stan. He was pretending to like him. Funny, really funny episode. I really like this. These socks are amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I have a couple actually Golden Girls socks. I have Sophia ones. And these are, I don't know, I like them too. I had to some way pay tribute to just Betty. I always think of Golden Girls as if they were my aunts or just really good friends. I would say the latter, really good friends, just really good friends. It's like everybody should be as fortunate to have. My dad never understood you have to have the right spirit. He always yelled at me, why do you want to watch old ladies talking dirty? LOL, I just say, Dad, you're a sad, sour man. Oh shit. Well, that's the thing. I have a lot of people tell me similar things with not my parents. My parents, granted, they don't really care what I watch. They were never, don't watch this, don't watch that. Very, very rare, if ever. But, a lot of people go, why do you watch horror movies from the 80s? Why do you watch horror movies from the 70s? Like kids my age in school. Like I'll be in school when I was in high school. I'd wear like a Maniac shirt. Why are you wearing that? The Conjuring's out. Insidious is out. I was like, I like those movies too, but why can't I watch what I want to watch? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Some people, they just, I don't know. But with this too, I got a lot of people asking, you like the Golden Girls? Yeah, it's a fantastic show. Like what? I don't see anything wrong with it, with a young guy liking the show. I think it's great for everybody. Like anybody and everybody who's ever had a great friend and wants to watch a show about friendship. I think the Golden Girls is the show for you. This episode was a riot, dude. I loved Angelo. Oh, she had it behind the so right. I just absolutely love it. I hope it's mentioned on the top 10. My favorite episodes are Sophia's sister, Angela. That's actually very close to being next. So that's on there. You're right, Angela. And in real life, her name's Nancy Walker. I love that episode. We're gonna get there. Mateo Grande, you need to work on that accent. Yeah, no, hey man, I do Dusty Rhodes good. I do Gilbert Gottfried good. Italian, I don't know, and I'm 50% Italian, so I should be ashamed. But Gabagoo, she had it behind the soul out. It made you want to bear on your knees. I don't think I do Blanche too bad. I'm Blanche Devereaux, and my hormones are raging like a panther. I mean, I love her and Sophia. I'm Sophia Petrillo, and my idea of a good psychiatrist is a bartender that pars without a spout. Absolutely love the Golden Girls. Just so memorable, the lines and shit. The Master of Fears here. What's going on, good brother? Hope all's well with you tonight, man. Cheers. But we'll go back into the list now. Let's pull up the list again. Let's see. Okay, next one on the list, number 8. It's a Miserable Life. Yes, It's a Miserable Life. I really like this one. This one is another season 2 episode, and it tells the story of they're actually trying to save a tree in the town. The Golden Girls are having this petition. They have Blanche go out, and she comes back with only one signature. Blanche, why do you only have one signature? Honey, give me a minute to freshen up. I'll get you another one. She fucked somebody to get the signature. I mean, that's the thing too. Like Rusty was saying, it's raunchy to hear 60-plus-year-old women talk about sex. Like it's not something that, at least in my head, goes together when you think of 60-year-old women. Like you're not thinking, okay, they talk about sex all the time, but they do. They're people. Like people, young men, they talk about. Well, so do fucking old women. So do anybody. Like that. Like that's the whole point, and that's why I thought it was always so funny. Like these women sitting down, eating cheesecake, laughing like fuck, talking about fucking. It's incredibly done. It really is, and it's not dirty. It's almost has a charm to it because they never curse on the show. This was, of course, a live, publicly syndicated television show. They couldn't curse. They had to come up with ways to be clever. And they do that. Like Rose would say, the first man I ever saw was my husband. And they were like, you never were with another man before that? And she's like, oh, well, I'd seen the animals on the farm. And Blanche goes, tough act to follow. Like, absolutely incredible how they wrote this show. It's really great stuff. But it's a miserable life. They're trying to save this tree. And the only problem is they have all these signatures, but the person who has the property that the tree is on, Frida Claxton, she is this miserable old bitch. and they can't get her to approve, even though it's on her property. So they're trying to, kiss her ass, win her over so she'll sign the damn petition and they can save the tree. It all culminates in this court scene where, the Golden Girls are against Frida Claxton. Frida gets up and I hate people, always have. And I don't care, stop wasting the taxpayers' money. Take that tree down, start pouring cement and all this stuff. And Rose has had it. Rose gets up and goes over to her and she goes, Mrs. Claxton, just because you're miserable, I'm not going to kiss your fanny anymore. And if you don't like that, you could drop dead. All of a sudden, this woman actually drops dead of a heart attack in the courtroom. And what happened? What happened? Sophia goes, you remember when you told her to drop dead? Yeah, I think she did. And she actually dies. And then, of course, poor Rose feels terrible about it. And she's heartbroken, even though she was a horrible woman. She feels like she killed her. And, of course, Blanche is like, get over it. You killed Mrs. Claxton 2 days ago, Rose, They actually go to the funeral home because she had no family or friends. So they try to buy her, a coffin and a of course, funeral service. There's a hilarious scene with the guy who owns the funeral home. And his name is not Mr. Pfeiffer, but Mr. Puff Pfeiffer. And they come in, they're like, listen, we'd like to buy a coffin. And he takes one look at Sophia and goes, oh, you're planning ahead for mother, huh? And without missing a beat, Estelle Getty, she walks up to him. She goes, hey, Pfeiffer, how would you like a punch in your face? And they have to hold her back, and she's ready to punch this guy out. I mean, classic stuff. Really, really funny. They have the whole funeral scene, and there's nobody there until this random lady walks in. She's like, oh, is it too late? No, please. Would you mind saying a few words? And she goes on, oh, she took care of, charities anonymously, and she did all this work, and they're all like starting to cry. They feel bad. They think that she was actually this great woman. And of course, the Pfeiffer comes in. Oh, well, the Rubenstein funeral is down the hall. Of course, they had the wrong person. Was that really Frida Claxton? Yeah, she kicks the coffin, walks out. Really funny shit, man. I love it. This is a wonderful sense of humor, this episode. It's dealing with death. It's dealing with, of course, Rose feeling guilt, but it's done in a tasteful way. I think this show tackled quite a few themes in a tasteful way. And that's why I really like this particular episode. Some Golden Girls. Hell yeah. Haven't seen that one yet, but there's a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode like that. That sounds like Larry David was biting. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a little bit of he got maybe a little bit of inspiration with the Seinfeld or that. Many people own this great shirt now. Yeah, no, absolutely. I showed this one too. I did an Instagram vote that ended up in a tie, but I also have this one, which is funny. My sister got me that one. Blanche's brother coming out and her accusing Rose of trying to bed him. Those are my favorite couple episodes. And the episode, oh, that's classic. Yeah, no, and going back to how they tackled certain themes. I love that one where her brother, there's two with the brother Clayton. The first one, he comes out, and the second one I actually think is slightly better. He's getting married to another man. And, Blanche being the Southern belle that she is, she expects her brother to be the male version of her, with women. And he's not. He loves this other guy, and she's having the hardest time accepting it. And I love the scene at the end where she walks in the room and she goes, I have something to ask. And Clayton says, I have nothing to say to you. And she goes, I'm not talking to you. And she walks over to Clayton's soon-to-be husband. And she says, let me ask you something. Do you love him? And, he says, yes, very much. I do. I love your brother. And she goes, that's all I need to know. And the three of them just have a nice hug. And that's it. It's just such a nice, what a nice way to tackle such a touchy theme. That's a touchy theme. It could go horribly wrong. There's quite a few. I mean, the lesbian episode where the not Lebanese. Sure. Isn't Dana Thomas one? I mean, hilarious. The whole lesbian has a crush on Rose. And I love how Rose tells her, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're going through, but, I'm here. And that's another really well tackled theme. I really like that one. Of course, there's another one later on the list that we'll get to that touches on that. What is my Instagram? Grande10. That is my Instagram. Good brother. If you throw me a follow, I'll follow you after we go off the air for sure. But getting the list up again, it's a miserable life. Absolutely fantastic. Coming in at number 7, Ladies of the Evening. Yes, Ladies of the Evening is a fantastic episode where Blanche scores tickets to meet the one, the only Mr. Burt Reynolds, another actor that's sadly since passed on. I mean, so many people that are on the show have sadly since passed. Like George Clooney is one of few I could think of that's actually still alive right now, and that was just one episode. But they win tickets to go see Mr. Burt Reynolds, and they're excited about it. The only problem is Blanche won 3 tickets, not 4. So one of them has to sit out. Of course, they pick Sophia, which I think is pretty wrong. I see you tried. Mrs. Carter followed me. Okay. I'll follow you back while we're on the air. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Yeah, no, I saw my phone. I thought it was going to be Mateo. It was Miss C. But yeah, no. They have to leave Sophia out, and she's heartbroken over this. She's trying to trick Rose into giving the ticket away. They are like, oh, hey, wait, we'll make a night of it. We'll get a hotel room, blah, blah, blah. Blanche doesn't do her research on the hotel room. She basically picks this hotel where all of the people in the lobby are hookers, and all the men in the lobby are paying these women to have sex with them. Thus, in return, they want, of course, the Golden Girls, Rue, Betty, and Bea, to sleep with them. So these guys hitting on them, and they're like, what the hell? This is a weird lead-off question. Like, what the fuck's going on? And they don't put 2 and 2 together until this cop comes in. And everybody in this building is under arrest. And the Golden Girls end up in jail. And it's hilarious, some of the conversations they're having in the cell. And there's one that comes up to Blanche. I'll let you throw the first punch, honey. And Dorothy sort of stands up to her and is like, listen, I was at this prison for a long time. And she goes, that's a men's prison. And Dorothy goes, I know. I was there a year before they found out. Like, it's amazing. I love it. And there's a great scene where Sophia comes running in after, being told that they've been locked up. And Sophia goes, arrested for prostitution. I can't believe it. And they're, Ma, we're innocent. We're innocent. And Sophia, without missing a beat, goes, I know you're innocent. She goes, I can't believe these dumb cops would believe anyone paid money to sleep with you. They're all like, son of a bitch, like, just pay to get us out of here. And they're all giving her a hard time. And, she's like, listen, I'll pay you to get you out, but which one of you is not going to the show? If I pay the ransom, I'm going to the show to meet Mr. Burt Reynolds. And they're, no, we're not. I lost Butter Queen, this, that, and the other. They won't, give in. And she takes the ticket away and fucking she takes the ticket away from all of them, and she lets them stay in jail, and she goes off to meet, Burt Reynolds. And then at the end, I nibbled the shrimp out of Jerry Reed's hands and all of this stuff, and it's fantastic. All of a sudden, there's a knock at the door, and it's Burt Reynolds. And Burt Reynolds, which one's the slut? I am. They all raise their hand. I am. Great stuff. Fantastic. As he, Sophia, how about a little lunch? How about a big lunch if you're buying? Okay, and they all kind of walk off. Just cool to see Burt Reynolds on a show like this. And, I miss Burt Reynolds too. He's another. Okay, we got Mateo requesting to follow too. So let me follow Mateo. Okie doke. Wow, this is, if only subscribers could grow this fast. This is pretty funny. We got 2 new followers. Rock on, guys. Let's see. I watched where Rose was celibate. She went on a cruise with a man and came back, told the ladies it was lovely. There were so many activities, shows, food. Dorothy yelled, did you screw or not? Yeah, no, I wasn't the one where she was like afraid she was going to kill him or something. I'm binging now. Oh, nice. I love that episode. That is totally a good one. I believe I forget if that, I know Miles, the actor that played Miles, he was on an earlier episode, and then fast forward to down the road, he played Miles, and they like just recast him as another character. I thought that was pretty interesting. But back into the list after that one, because I really like that one. This next one, I think it's the funniest episode of the entire series. And it is a Blanche Sophia one that I was referring to before. This is Yes, We Have No Havanas from season 4. This was, I believe, the kickoff of season 4. This is, I think, the funniest episode of the entire series. Like, line for line, scene for scene, this is the one that probably makes me laugh the most. And basically, it tells the story of Blanche is dating this guy named Fidel Santiago. and he owns this Cuban cigar company, and his father is on the face of the, the cigar packages or whatever. And he's dating Blanche, and she starts to suspect that maybe he's cheating on her. Lo and behold, he is cheating on her with Sophia Petrillo. And she comes up and she's like, what do you see in this raisin and sneakers? And the two of them, it's basically just an episode where Blanche and Sophia absolutely go to a verbal war. And it is fucking hilarious. Like, it is amazing. There's a great scene where Sophia and him come home, and Dorothy Rose, I thought you two would be in bed by now. And she's trying to hint at them to go in, this old woman. And Blanche, of course, comes out in the fucking, nighty, and hello, Mr. Santiago, I saw you there, and she's trying to be all seductive, and hello, Blanche. And he's like, what do you think? Do you think I look stunning? And she's like, you don't have cataracts, you tell me. I mean, hilarious. And she's trying to fucking steal him. And Sophia, without missing a beat, goes, beat it, you 50-year-old mattress. And hilarious. And Blanche is like, I just hate you. It's great stuff. And all right, Miguel, I'll be, if you need me, I'll be in the bathtub with just enough bubbles to cover up my heaving bosoms. And fucking Sophia goes, you're only going to sit in an inch of water? Blanche just charges her. She's like, that does it. And they're holding them back from each other. And I'll see you in the morning for breakfast. Sure. 12 for lunch? Sure. 7 for dinner? Sure. 10 for dancing? Sure. Midnight for dessert. And fucking Sophia goes, there's always room for Jello. Like, they burn the shit out of each other in this. Like, it is absolutely unbelievably hilarious. Like, the one-liners in this, and these two going back and forth at it, is hilarious. And they eventually run this man so rampant that he dies. And they're all at his funeral, and there's only women, exclusively women at the funeral. And Sophia's like, wait a minute, there's something up here. And she gets up and she goes, which one of you is Miguel's girlfriend? And they all raise their hands. So he was banging like 30 women at the same time of all ages, shapes, and sizes. And it really funny. And Sophia kind of goes in this whole speech. The man in this box was a bum. Like, just absolutely burying him. But she does make a valid point where she says, even though he was a pig and doing all this shit behind our backs, I'm sure that he all made you feel special. And she said, I haven't felt this special or this spark in a long time. And I think she has a point there. Like, that's a very, when you feel that spark, it doesn't grow on trees. It really, truly doesn't. And that's why I really liked that final speech at the end. Like, I think she made a really great point. Even though this guy was a sleazebag, he did make her feel special again. And he made all those women in that room feel special, for one reason or another. And I thought that was a really cool kind of message to go full circle. But this one, I don't know. I adore it. I thought the verbal jabs between Sophia and Blanche were just absolutely money. Really, really funny stuff. This one was a riot. Sophia is always calling Blanche a whore. Yeah, no, but this one, she goes above and beyond. She calls her a raisin and sneakers, and she really shits on her. They just go back and forth, and Sophia absolutely is winning that 9 times out of 10. Blanche and Dorothy's venomous tongues are why I am the sarcastic bitch I am today. I thank them for it. Nice, man. Yeah, no. That's funny you don't mention Sophia. Because Sophia is definitely, I think, the most lethal of the 4. Like, she will say what everybody in the room is thinking, and not saying, and she'll come out and just say it. And that's why I love Sophia Petrillo. I think she's just a great character. But moving on into the next one on the list, let's see. Next one on the list, coming in at number 5, this is Brother, Can You Spare That Jacket? Now, this is one of the more serious ones of the show, and I know a lot of people would rather probably turn you off to that, but I would say that this is a really well done episode. It basically, Blanche at the beginning, she buys everyone lottery tickets, and she gives one to, of course, all the girls, and Dorothy says, hey, what do I win if I get 3 palm trees? And Blanche goes, you don't have 3 palm trees. That would be 10 grand. And Dorothy goes, I have 3 palm trees. And they're all celebrating. We won 10 grand. Why don't we go out for an expensive dinner? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay. So they're all getting ready. And, they had this guy from a charity auction. He's like, hey, I'm here to collect the whatever clothes you guys don't want for the charity. Sophia puts the winning ticket in this jacket that they give away, and she doesn't realize it, but it's all done by mistake. So they have the winning ticket for $10,000. They take it away, and then the girls all realize, they're like, oh my God, we have to get the jacket back. And the entire episode is them sort of trying to get the jacket back. Now, it's funny. It definitely has there's a Michael Jackson reference in there, which was funny. This is a funny episode, but I really appreciate the heart this one had towards the end, where the jacket gets auctioned off into a shelter for people that are homeless. And they all split up in order to find the jacket. So Rose is laying next to one guy, Blanche is with another. And then Sophia and Dorothy, they're together, and they see one of Sophia's old friends. And I loved how all 3 of them had integral but touching stories. Rose meets a black man from her hometown, and they meet, and he's gone homeless, and he's sick, and he's hungry, and all of these things, and you just feel terrible. She sees a lot of herself in him because they were from the same town. And it's a really, really nice verbal altercation between the two. I really like it. Rue McClanahan, Blanche, she comes across this young kid who's like in his early 20s. And she says, you're really young. You have a nice face. What are you doing in here? And he says, I was studying to be a doctor, but I'm really a recovering alcoholic / drug addict. And I just need a place to sleep for the night. And it's sad. You're like, oh my God, like she's right. This guy does look young and promising. And, this addiction has kind of caused him to wind up here. And then of course it comes full circle with Sophia's friend, who's this older woman, Sophia's age. What are you doing? Why are you in this home? And she says, the one thing I thought that would be free would be getting older. And it's not free. It sucks. And, there's a great heartfelt scene where she says, I just thought that would be the one thing that would be for free, but it's not. And I'm out of money. My husband's gone and I ran out of money, I'm not getting the pension, not getting enough. So that's why I have to stay here. And it's really good. And I think that whole, those altercations are fantastic. And at the end, they kind of wait for everybody to fall asleep and they start looking for the jacket. And they play this song, Brother, Can You Spare a Dime? And it's really good. They're showing all these people that are less fortunate. And Blanche finds the ticket. I found it. I found the jacket. Here's the ticket. And Sophia takes it. They all kind of walk out, and she hands it to the guy who has the shelter, the priest. And she goes, here you go, Padre. And she goes, don't spend it all in one place. She kind of walks out. And that the 4 of them realized that, as great as that 10 grand would have been, there are people that are always needed more. And they realize that there are less fortunate out there. And it's so nice to see how they all sort of had character arcs, like Blanche sees a young up and comer, Rose sees this guy from her town, and then Sophia sees her old friend a lot in herself. They all see a little bit of themselves, how they could easily be in these positions as well. But they do the bigger thing and sort of give the ticket away. Really nice episode. A very underrated one. People don't really seem to care for this one. When I did my research, this seems to be one of the least reviewed ones. Maybe because it's not a straight up comedic episode, like only the first half is. But I don't know. I like I was saying before, the intro of this, I should say, the heart. This has a wonderful heart to it, this episode. And that's a big reason why I love the Golden Girls. Mateo asks, which one of the Golden Girl actresses you'll think fit in a horror movie? Wow. Well, Betty White did like Placid. So, I mean, I know that of all 4 of them, that was probably the one that came the closest to actually doing it. I'll go out on a limb. I'll say Rue McClanahan. Just because I think of the 4 of them, Rue got the short end of the stick when it came to her career after this. Like, I think she's a great actress and performer, but I don't think she got enough big roles. Betty White had plenty of work. Bea Arthur did a one-woman show on Broadway that got rave reviews. She stayed in the public eye pretty much up until her death. Estelle Getty is really sad. She actually had, I don't know if it was Alzheimer's or she had a disease where she just started forgetting everything. And she eventually forgot who she was, and she forgot she did this show, which is, to me, it's the most heartbreaking death of any of them, because it's just like she didn't even remember the great things she did. It's just really sad. But I would say Rue McClanahan. I think she, of the four, is the most underrated actress. I think she would have been really cool. Maybe I'm trying to think of what I would cast her in now, Mateo, like what kind of a role. It would be kind of cool to see her play like maybe a stalker or something like that. I don't know. I really like Rue McClanahan. I'll go with her. I'll go with a different answer there. Mateo, I personally think Dorothy. She's definitely a final girl. Oh, cool. Okay. I wasn't thinking that. See, I was thinking more antagonist, because I don't know. But yeah, Dorothy for sure. Any of the four of them are great. Although Betty had the Lake Placid appearance. But I think all of them are final girls in their own way. Sure. Yep. Okay. Missy mentions that. John Steele, I emailed you, Grande. Okay, cool. I didn't even know. Oh, okay. Trenchy gave you my email. Okay, cool. I'll check it after the show. One-way ticket to Shady Pines for giving that ticket away. Oh, no. AJ Citro's in the house. Good brother. Hope all's well with you, man. Yeah, no, hey, that was the bigger thing to do. And that's why I love this episode. I think that's so the Golden Girls thing to do. We like this. It would be nice, but there are less fortunate out there. We could see a lot of ourselves in them. And I thought that was really cool. Betty doubled down on that Lethal Mouth award in Hot in Cleveland. My grandmother watched that show, and she said it was a very lame attempt at this. I believe Valerie Bertinelli was on that, and they basically were trying to like recreate this with Betty White playing more of a Sophia character. Granted, I never watched it, but I always remember her telling me it was a very poor attempt to capture this magic, and you just can't do that. But I don't know if you're a fan. Let me know. Granted, I doubt I'll be watching that anytime soon. British Knight, I know it shocked me. I never heard Betty White, because before and at the time, I didn't know she played a bitch on. Exactly, yeah. And I was mentioning at the beginning, that's why they wanted her to play Blanche on this. AJ says B could have been the next Michael Myers. Oh, well, that's true. She's definitely fucking tall enough. Bea Arthur's a big lady. I used to love Mary Tyler Moore when it came on Nick at Night when I was little. I don't really remember it now, though. It might be a time for a revisit. Absolutely. There's always a great times to revisit these, for sure. So let me get the list up again. And I have a tie for number 4, because I really wanted this other episode. So I guess there's technically 11. So I don't know, but this is a tie at number 4. First off, it's Sisters, which, of course, Miss C was mentioning before. Sisters is a great episode where Sophia, it's her birthday coming up, and they want to do this whole surprise party for Sophia, and they want to get her a surprise gift. Now, Dorothy's idea of the surprise gift is her, sister Angela, who is played by Nancy Walker, who is also on McMillan and Wife, which I love. McMillan and Wife. I especially love the wife. I'm horrible, but I always loved, I think, what was her name? Susan something. What the fuck was the wife's name on McMillan and Wife? Was it Susan? I guess I can do it as Susan St. James, that if you will, that a rock husband will rock it all night long with Susan St. James, Cody. But, Susan St. James is a beautiful woman. But Nancy Walker was on that as like their maid. She's a great character actress. Just love her. And she comes in and plays Sophia's sister in this. And of course, when they show her the surprise as her sister, Sophia is outraged because they've had a fight years and years ago, and the two of them have to sort of come together and make up the problem. And it's really great. I love Nancy Walker. She played very well off Estelle Getty, sort of taking notes of why, Estelle Getty worked as the character, and she kind of made it her own thing. I really liked it. And, it's funny, like all the stories they tell, like, picture it, Sicily, 1919, a beautiful young peasant girl in search of a man, in search of pepperoni, fun, just funny shit. And then, of course, Rose is back in St. Olaf, back in St. Olaf, back in St. Olaf. You all remember that, like these stories, these places, the times. You remember that. That's a big part of the show. You should remember those stories and how they were delivered by, Estelle Getty and Betty White, respectively. But I really like this one. They have the whole, scene where they don't want to talk to each other. And you still have that cat? The same cat I had 30 years ago? It's fine. You ask the questions. And they start roasting each other. May a marinara never link to your pasta. Say it to my face. And may your mole hair grow thicker hair than Jerry Vale. And it's just the two of them just absolutely just going at it, man. Very funny stuff. I love the two of them, how they played off each other. And then at the end, sort of realizing, we just made this whole mistake, and it was a misunderstanding. How one thought that Sophia had kissed her husband, and Sophia goes, "You never even kissed your husband," which was funny. And then Angela says, "Oh, you betrayed me," and he's like, "No, I didn't. I would never do that." And they kind of just realized that it was all a big misunderstanding. They hug, and I think it's cute. I think it's great. And Dorothy's not missing a beat. I think they should both be committed, and they kind of hug. Really cool one. I really like Sisters. That's a good one. That's a tie though for the number 4 slot. I never made the connection between HIC and Golden Girls. I loved it, but never got the vibe they were trying to make a connection. So, I'll be honest with you. I never watched it, but I saw the trailer, like the coming previews for it. And it was 4 women in a house living together. Betty White was there. It just, like, to me, that's what I saw. And I asked her, I was like, what do you think? And she was like, absolutely. She said, it's very, like, trying to be like that. And I was like, oh, okay. But if you say no, I take your word for it. I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I can't really say. I'm just relaying what she told me. And that is honestly what I thought when I saw the trailer or the preview or whatever. I'm not super familiar with MTM, but saw some Best of Betty White tribute show on MTM this past Sunday. Oh, really? That's awesome. I didn't know. I didn't watch Mary Tyler Moore as much either. Like shows around that time, I loved All in the Family. I absolutely loved Jesus Christ, The Odd Couple. I love Jack Klugman and Tony Randall. I think that's one of the best sitcoms of all time. The Cosby Show was great. Golden Girls, those are some of my favorite sitcoms for sure. And the list goes on. Taxi, I absolutely love Taxi. There's a lot of great shows from that era. The Sisters episode is definitely on my list. Thanks for this top 10. You got it, and we're almost at the top of it, so we're getting there. But tied, coming in also at number 4. This is One Flew Out of the Cuckoo's Nest. This is the series finale. And, it was hard for me to do these top 3, top 4. This was really tough because this one could easily be number 1. I think it's one of the best season or series finales of all time. I love this finale. Dorothy, in a way to kind of prank Blanche, goes out with her, I believe Blanche's uncle. And she throws them together just because she figured they'd have a boring dinner and a boring night. And the uncle is actually played by Leslie Nielsen, who I absolutely love. Leslie Nielsen. He's a great actor. It's cool they got him to do this. Another guy that's since passed on. I mean, it's sad. Like, all the people on the show are pretty much gone now. Betty was really the last main one that was alive. But they kind of talk over dinner and they say, hey, why don't we play a big practical joke and pretend we're going to get married? And of course, this kills Blanche, devastates Blanche, and she doesn't want it to happen. And it ends up that they start to really fall in love with one another. And it's a 2-part episode, of course. The first half, they're playing the prank. And towards the end, they sort of realize that, Leslie Nielsen says, it's going to be hard to break up with you, Dorothy. These last couple of days were my brightest since my wife Edna passed away. And they have this great moment together. And you see that, even by trying to play a prank, they sort of found each other. They found their soulmate. And the finale is Dorothy gets married and kind of has a send-off. And it's really touching. They throw Herb Edelman in there. He tries to stop the marriage at one point. He's driving the limo, and he thinks better of it because of all the horrible things he did to Dorothy, cheating on her and stuff. He realizes that he loves her enough to let her go, which I liked. I thought that was sweet. Sophia even sheds a tear at the wedding. And to me, it all culminates in the final scene, which is probably my favorite final scene of any television show. When Dorothy has to say goodbye to Blanche, Rose, and her mother, Sophia. And she says, listen, he's out in the car. And Betty White starts it off, and the emotions just flow. Betty says, what can you say about 7 years, about all the fights, all the laughs, all the cheesecake and secrets. And it starts off this just emotional scene, and Bea Arthur, grabs their hands and says, I'll think of you three whenever the world gets cold. And I'll think of you three, whenever I'm down on myself, because, you three were always such wonderful, great friends to me. And you're angels, all of you. And they all hug, and she sort of walks out the door. And, it would have been beautiful. It ended right there. But I love they do this. She runs back in and hugs them. I missed you too much. I missed you too much. And they're, oh, we love you too. And she walks out again and then comes from the other door, runs all the way around the house and hugs, and they're crying and stuff. And she leaves, and they're looking around at the doors, to see if maybe she's going to run back in a third time, but she doesn't. Dorothy got the happy ending that she deserved, because Dorothy was the character that was the most, shit on, for lack of a better term. She got the most crap. You're ugly. Jealousy is a very ugly thing, Dorothy, and so are you. And anything backless. I mean, they would say some horrendous, horrible shit to Dorothy. About her size, her face, whatever. Just some mean stuff. But it was so nice to see Dorothy get the happy ending she deserved, because Blanche had flings, Rose had Miles, Sophia, she was really the wisest one of the four. It was nice. I think Dorothy was the right one to sort of give that happy ending to. And I love the ending. Like, they're all crying. It's fucking emotional. Like, I wonder how many times they had to shoot that, because it almost reminds me of the ending of Boy Meets World. If anyone's familiar with that show. When Mr. Feeney is saying goodbye to the kids, and they fucking all are hysterical crying. And I know for a fact that was shot in one scene. They never did a second take of that, because all of the emotions were so raw and real that there's no acting that could beat something where the emotion is that raw and real. And that's where you get here with the finale, the series finale, the Golden Girls, One Flew Out of the Cuckoo's Nest. I think an absolute prime contender for the best episode of this series, because it ended perfect. It really did. And even some of my favorite shows, like The Odd Couple. I wish The Odd Couple had an ending this good. Like The Odd Couple, it sort of ends where Felix gets remarried, and Oscar's thrilled about it, and he's throwing up confetti, and it just sort of ends. Like there's not that final scene between The Odd Couple. To me, it's like you need that scene where would have just been, hey, Felix, I know I give you a hard time, and I know I get angry at you and I yell at you, but I do appreciate that you cleaned up after me after all these years. And I do appreciate that you had my back all of these years. And as much as you get on my nerves, before you leave, please know that I did love you and I did cherish this. That you needed that in The Odd Couple. The Odd Couple didn't end this way. This did, and it had to end like this. The true friendship, the culmination of 7 years, it just all comes to a wonderful emotional finale. I love the finale of the Golden Girls. Absolutely fantastic. It's good to get some best advice from trusted experts. Thank you. If you mean me, thank you so much. There was another one where Angela moved to Florida. Yes. Oh, and she goes to the door. She's like, Angela, open the door. I know you're in there. And she's like, come on. She goes, run to the door. And she goes, run. I can hardly walk. And Sophia, fine, rub it in. Like, I absolutely just bawl laughing at that. Like, she can't walk. I'm sorry. That shit made me laugh. I'm moving on up like the Jeffersons. I love the Jeffersons. I haven't watched the Jeffersons probably since I'm a kid. But I loved the Jeffersons. Trusted movie and TV experts. This one, if you haven't seen this episode, it gets emotional. I promise you it does. But it's wonderful. It's wonderfully done. I've grown up with The Cosby Show. Unfortunately, nobody talks about it anymore. Exactly. Yeah, no, that's it. And it's funny because when this show premiered, that was the big show they were competing with. Like The Cosby Show was the number one show on television. And the Golden Girls were like, all right, we got to try to compete, and that's when this came around. And this was a big, I think this was in the top 5 every single year, right along with it. And all 4 actresses won, Emmys. How many shows can you say where all 4 of the lead actors and or actresses won primetime Emmys for their roles? Not too many that I can think of on the top of my head, but the Golden Girls did. And that's a true testament to how great this show was. Let's see. All in the Family, Good Times. Before They Killed James. Yep. Married with Children. I love Married with Children. Sanford and Son I never watched. I could watch all those shows for hours and never get bored. I don't know if AJ's still here, but I know AJ loves Three's Company, which I don't know. Three's Company, it's almost become my life lately. It's craziness. Missing classics. And of course, Golden Girls. Oh, of course. Probably my favorite all-time sitcom, Golden Girls. The damaged, sarcastic bitch is always the one who truly deserves the legit happy ending. I agree. I don't like if they'd done it for Rose and Miles, like good for Rose and Miles, but it would not have been the same. It just wouldn't have been, in my humble opinion. My nostalgia is bleeding. Call an ambulance. Yeah, no, that'll happen when you review these. We got 3 more episodes though, so no worries. I got a message from Instagram from somebody. Yeah, no, I'll answer that later. No problem. Okay, so top 3 now. Top 3 episodes coming in at number 3. It is from season 3. It is Mixed Blessings. Now, I know this is a touchy one, so I don't know how far into this I can go. This was actually, I believe, removed from whatever streaming service that the Golden Girls streams on, which I think is a little much, but you know, that's neither here nor there. This one tells the story of Dorothy's son, Michael, who's actually horror royalty. If anyone has seen a little horror movie from the late 70s called Bad Ronald, it's the same actor who plays her son. And he didn't do much acting, but so cool to see him show up here. Fucking Bad Ronald is the son of Dorothy Zbornak. Really cool. He is getting married to this woman named Lorraine. Oh, great. We're happy for you. When Lorraine shows up, the Golden Girls are horrified because Lorraine is so much older than him. She's also African-American. And that's why the whole controversy of this started, because, you know, obviously when you're touching with race and a television show, people could get, you know, upset about stuff like this. That's when comedy sort of, you know, can offend or whatever. But it's not. I think it's really handled well. They never mentioned that, oh, we don't want you to marry her or whatever. You know, her family comes in and they're like, oh, you know, great, you got yourself a young boy, but you didn't mention he was white, you know, and they're bashing him and, you know, they're saying that she's too long in the tooth and all this stuff. And it is absolutely hilarious as these two families kind of come to a feud because they don't want their kids to get married, you know, for whatever reason. And, you know, Lorraine's family's there, Dorothy's there, her son's there. Rose and Blanche come in with mud masks on. And they're looking at them, and it's funny. And all of a sudden, Sophia, from a vacation, she comes through the door. And she walks in on this crazy scene of all these people in the fucking living room. And she just takes one look at them, and she goes, what the hell is this, a revival of A Raisin in the Sun? They're all like, just looking at her like crazy. Like it's the perfect chaos is going on. And then, of course, Sophia walks in and just nails it, you know, like it's very funny. And then of course at the end, even though the families don't want them to get married, love is what matters the most and their happiness is what matters the most, and that's why they ended up they do let them get married. And she's pregnant at the end with a kid, and they're arguing over the kid's name. You know, what about Michael Jr. and no, it's Lamar. Lamar Zbornak. All right, you know, very funny, man. I really, really enjoy this episode. I think it's a very funny one. It's a shame that there's all this controversy over it now in the political correct world we live in, but I think it's really well tackled. I think it's really funny, personally. So Mixed Blessings, number 3, really great episode. Betty White truly knew the secret of a long life, hot dogs and vodka. Well, if that gets you to 100, man, granted, I don't drink vodka, or any alcohol, but give me the next hot dog you see, good brother. Hopefully some chili cheese. Bloodbound, rock on, brother. Side note, Married with Children creator originally gave it the title Not the Cross. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Bad Ronald is life. Yes, somebody knows Bad Ronald. Bad Ronald's in this episode as Dorothy's son. Really cool. Let me place my order, Bloodbound. I should live long. I should be good, and you're welcome. Hell yeah. We're going to Nathan's. Everybody, let's go to Nathan's on me. Chili cheese dogs and fucking fat steak fries till dawn. King Negor's in the house. Hello, Boppy. Did someone say African American? Yeah, no. Well, yes. That's a matter of fact. they get married interracially. And it did cause a big thing. They took this episode out of syndication. I believe it was removed from whatever streaming service the Golden Girls was on. But I don't know. Like, the show tackled a lot. We were talking about before. It tackled gay. It tackled lesbian. It tackled interracial relationship. It tackled quite a few touchy subjects, but I thought always in a good way. And never in a poorly written way. Of course, there's one where Betty White is dating this midget. That was even tackled in a really funny way. Like Blanche comes in, would you like some shrimp? Like, just great stuff, man. Absolutely great stuff. Bad Ronald is one of my favorite acquisition to my collection. That movie scared the hell out of me as a kid for some reason. That's a great movie. Fun fact, that was directed, I believe, by Buzz Kulik, who was a veteran Twilight Zone director. And anybody who hasn't seen Bad Ronald, watch it right now. It's fantastic. It's basically the story of this young kid, Bad Ronald. He's in love with this girl in his school, and she's mean to him every day, really horrible to him. And one day he's had enough of it, and he accidentally kills her. Like, he hits her, but she ends up dying. And then he goes back to the house, and his mother is like, listen, I'm going to hide you. We have to figure out what we're going to do. So she builds this whole like side compartment in the house to hide him while she tries to figure out what to do. And then she ends up going off for a surgery and unexpectedly dies during the surgery. And then this new family moves in. Unbeknownst to them, Bad Ronald is lurking in the walls of the house, watching them do laundry, watching them fuck, it's one of the best 1970s made-for-TV horror movies that nobody ever mentions, but yet it's cool. Bad Ronald shows up in this episode. Absolutely, really, really cool stuff. King Igor laughing. That feeling is quite mutual. Oh, Brit, we gotta love the fact you're here. The Latino come through first, Corey. LOL. Yeah. But I don't know. That's Mixed Blessings at number 3. I really enjoy that episode. I think it's sort of underrated. Okay, we're to the top 2 now. Top 2 episodes of the Golden Girls. Now, this was tough. These two, I went back and forth with to see which was number 1. But coming in at number 2, this is Old Friends. Now, Old Friends, I believe, was the premiere of season 3. And it basically tells the story of Sophia, and one day she wants to take a walk on the boardwalk. Oh, wait a minute. We have comments that didn't load. I'm sorry. Wow, we had a ton of comments that didn't load. Holy shit. I missed like 30 comments. If I miss some, I apologize. Please repost them if you want. We make the pajama pants drop. That's great. If we stopped censoring media, we'd advance as a species. Yeah, I agree with that. Totally disagree. Ronald was a good boy. Bad. Shame what happened to him. Well, depends on your point of view. I forget if it was Rose or Dorothy, but one of them dated a priest, and Blanche was making an ass out of herself. Oh yeah. That was Dorothy. He's a priest, isn't he? That's classic. I want to watch it. Looking forward to it. Yeah, no, it's a good one. Mixed Blessings, really good one. Where'd you get those Golden Girls shirts? So this one was my sister. Here, I'll take the comment down for a second. This was my sister got me this. I thought this was really funny. And then this one, my good buddy Brian, who I've had on the show a bunch of times, got me this Golden Girl shirt for my birthday, I think about a year or so ago. And that's why tonight I was like, oh man, I got to do a poll. Like, which one am I going to wear? It ended in a tie, so I flipped a coin and the purple one won. But I love them both. And honestly, the pink one's a little wrinkly, so I'm actually sort of glad that the purple one won. I agree, King. Ronald was a good boy. He went understandably crazy, trapped in that room. Well, I don't know, man. You kill somebody, I don't know, but he certainly was up to no good. I would say that. I don't know. Those shirts are so lit. Thank you so much, Brett. I appreciate that. But let me talk about this episode. So, Old Friends, Sophia wants to take a walk on the boardwalk, and she's walking one day, and she sees this other man sitting on the bench. And it's an African-American man. He's sitting down on the bench, and she sits next to him, and they sort of just spark this friendship. And I love the interaction between the two of them. I think it's so well done. And this is probably my favorite episode from Estelle Getty as a performer. I love her acting performance in this, as is the gentleman with her. I think he does a great job. They have the greatest chemistry. I love it. They're counting birds. And then there's one point where Sophia goes, hey, you see it? You see it? And he's like, I think you're right. He goes, I think that gentleman's just took a piss in the ocean. And they both start laughing and stuff. They're sharing sandwiches, sharing stories. That's why I love Sophia Petrillo as a character. It's really good stuff. And I really like the other actor too. He does a great job in this. And this one gets a little serious. He comes by one day and she mentions, his late wife, and he starts crying. And at first she thinks, oh, it's because he misses her. And that's what we all think. But you sorely start to realize that this man has Alzheimer's disease. And, he's forgetting to take the bus. He forgets, who he is some days. And it's a sad episode. It starts off so fun. You're like, oh my God, I love this guy. I love their friendship. And it gets very serious. This is her friend that actually has Alzheimer's, which is something that is, sadly enough, I don't know if it was the definite disease that Estelle Getty got, but I know she forgot like everything. And at a younger age than most do with Alzheimer's, which is so sad. Because it happened to Estelle Getty in real life, which is, to me, it adds so much more weight knowing that now. But you meet his daughter, and his daughter says, listen, he's going to have good days. He'll have bad days. And there's one where she's sitting there sort of waiting for him to stop by, and Dorothy waits and watches, and she goes, I don't think he's coming. And she goes, I understand, and hopefully he gets the help and the medicine and the care that he deserves. And it's really sad, and they kind of get up to walk away, and somebody goes to sit down where the other man used to sit. And I love Sophie. I love Estelle Getty's line delivery here. She goes, hey, there's somebody sitting there. And the guy gets up and walks away. Like, that's his seat. That's her friend. That's his seat. And I love that. I thought it was such a really nice, heartwarming episode. Like, really, like what the Golden Girls is all about. Really, really good stuff. And I don't know. That's a big reason I like this one. I also, there's a side story with Rose that's fantastic in this, where this Cub Scout or Girl Scout, she takes Rose's teddy bear and she's holding it for ransom. And they're trying to do we'll pay you. We'll do this. We'll do that. And it all comes down to Rose, talking to the girl, says, you know what that bear means to me? I'd like it back. And the girl's giving her a hard time, being a bitch. And she goes, you know what? Sometimes life just isn't fair, kiddo. She takes the bear, rips it out of her hand, and pushes the kid out the door and slams the door, hugs the bear, and they're, yes, Rose! They all come in for a hug. Great stuff. It was a great relief to when the stuff with Sophia and the other man became so serious and sad and dreary. Like, it was a perfect balance of humor and seriousness and heart. Like, to me, it's one of the ultimate episodes of the Golden Girls. I really love Old Friends. That comes in at number 2. Let's see. That's hot. I need a dank Betty White shirt. What about dank Betty White socks? That's what you really need. That's what you really need, bro. You really need some dank Betty White socks. You look good in purple, Grande. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm trying to quit this whole soda thing, so I don't know, trying to do better this new year. Ronald, bad 2024. I don't know. Ronald gonna run for president? I don't know. Who would be his vice? Who would be his VP? That's the real question. Is it called Bad Ronald? Never heard of it before. Yes, Bad Ronald. Great movie, in my opinion. I can't find it online, but there are DVDs for sale. Highly recommend the DVDs, Britt, because like I said, they on TV reruns, they cut a lot of the scenes out of these. Like bizarre. I don't understand how you could cut this. But it is what it is. I need Betty White condoms. Okay. Well, does anybody remember the episode with this where they mentioned condoms? That was the funniest one, where the three of them go shopping for condoms, and they're all like, they don't want anybody to know about it, and fucking Bea Arthur just starts screaming, condoms, 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 condoms. And the fucking guy, we need a price check on some condoms. He goes, we have super sensitive for the fucking blonde in black. Like, absolutely hilarious. That's a great scene in this. I don't forget what episode that is, but it's a great one. Where did I get the socks? Spencer's Gifts and that, I think it's called Spencer's Gifts. Yeah, Spencer's. That's where I got these socks. Really cool. I have Batman ones, Spider-Man ones, Jason ones, Freddy ones, Hellraiser ones. I have a ton of them. I rocked with BK's 2 Ways back in the day. Really? Okay. Oh, mind blown. I can't. They're also 2-part where Sophia gets married, her husband. Yes. That's a good one too. It was like her friend's old husband, and she had passed, and then they got in love. They do the Elvis wedding, which is funny. Quentin Tarantino, fun fact, that was his first ever acting performance. Quentin Tarantino's in that episode as a fucking Elvis impersonator. Really weird. What the fuck, 30-year-old LMFAO bars. Bro, we're spitting bars in the graveyard. That's what we do. But that leads us to number one, my favorite all-time episode, The Golden Girls. Probably, a lesser talked about one, but one where I feel like I love it so much because it's the one where I think, for a few reasons, it's one of the most important ones. Number one, I think it was the episode that really put the show on the map. And I don't have evidence to prove that, but to me, it's the first really great and complete episode of the show. And I think that it's one where all four of them get to shine and all four of them have a nice arc. And I think that it's one where the four of them shine the brightest as a whole. Which is, again, it's still, it's saying a lot because there's a lot of these where they all shine. But it's the competition from season one. This one tells the story where Sophia and her long lost, the one that got away, he comes to visit and he wants her to come back with him, for a month or whatever to their country. And Sophia says, Dorothy, could you give me the money for the plane tickets? I want to go back with him. And no, I'm not letting you go alone. I'm not paying for the tickets, blah, blah, blah. She won't let her do it. Meanwhile, Blanche and Rose are a bowling team, and there's this big bowling tournament coming up, and Rose really wants to win. There's this whole, competitive side to Rose where she really, really wants to win. And she drops Blanche for Dorothy because Dorothy can bowl way better. And this hurts Blanche's feelings. And then when Bea Arthur finds out about this, Bea Arthur says, hey, you know what, Rose, this is messed up. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave you, and she teams up with Blanche. And then Rose is like, I can't find a partner. And of course, Sophia goes to Rose and says, I'll be your partner. And I say, we do a little bit of a bet. I bet if we win, you have to pay for my plane tickets and I get to go spend the time with, I think Augustine is the guy's name. And so the bet is on. And it's basically 2-on-2, Sophia and Rose versus Blanche and Dorothy, respectively, in a game of bowling, and it's a lot of fun. Like the Sophia's taunting them at points and Rose is being very animated. I got her ball! I got her ball! I mean, funny. Blanche gets choked up in the serious moments. Like there's a point where she has to bowl like a spare and they'll win. And fucking Rose goes, when the chips are down, Blanche chokes. I love it. But Dorothy, I feel like this ball weighs 1,000 pounds. It's okay, Blanche. You just hold on to the ball and I will throw you down the fucking aisle. It's amazing. And I love how it ends. The Dorothy and Blanche they're in the lead to win. All Dorothy has to do is hit a spare. She knocks 9 pins down. She has 1 left. And it's a spare she's made 100 out of 100 times, and she knows she's going to make it. And she takes one look at Sophia and realizes that, Sophia is not asking for much. She just wants to be with this guy that got away. And she looks and double takes, and she misses the spare on purpose. And Sophia and Rose win. Of course, Rose gloats about it in her trophy, and it's my trophy, taunting them. And of course, Sophia gets to go with him and she wins the bet. And I don't know. It's just, I really liked the ending. I really liked how she just realizes she's like, you know what? Like it would mean so much to her and she doesn't ask much and I love her and I'm going to let her go, and I like that. I think it's a nice ending, a little sappy, but I don't know. I guess I like stuff like that. That's the one I'm watching right now. What? No way. I wish there was a way you could send a screenshot. That's so wild. Get out of here. Yo, I'm going to have to repeat you. Get out of here. That's crazy. What are the odds? That's my favorite episode, though. For real. Honestly, you lying. I'm serious. I was watching that then. I saw Grande go live and I paused it. Wow, that is fucking wild. What are the odds of that? Yeah, no, for real. Blessings on blessings on blessings. Absolutely, man. The universe, man, it is a wonderful thing. It tends to unfold. I love it. Sounds honestly heartwarming. It is. And all of them just have their moments to shine in this. That's why I think it's the one where all four of them shine the brightest. And that's why I really love this show. Like, how do you make, 4 characters. Usually it's hard enough to get one character for you to feel about, but we felt about all 4 of them. And like I was saying at the beginning, you can't do the Golden Girls without any of them. All 4 of them are the glue that holds this show together and why it worked for the 7 years that it was on the air. And when they tried Golden Palace, I think that's why it failed. I think they missed Bea Arthur. And I think if any of them had left, any of them, I don't think it ever would have worked. That's the thing with this. Everyone needs a little sap in their lives to chill them out. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Grande, how are you making this heartfelt show even more heartfelt? I don't know about that. But I don't know. I guess I like stuff like this. Like, it's funny. Like, on one hand, I love exploitation, grindhouse cinema, and horror. And that's why my grandmother always used to tell me, she was like, I don't know how you watch horror. I was like, I swear to you, I said, if you could give it a shot, I was like, if you could really give it a shot, I think you'd care for it too. It's just sometimes I think it's a whole stigma. It's like, oh, blood and gore. Yeah, there's blood and gore. It's cool. There's all these underlying themes though in horror too that people don't initially give it credit for. But it's there, and I think it's there in its own way. Amen. Totally. Praise of the Girls of Gold. Absolutely. These shows of the 80s and 90s cannot be replicated today. Lack of ideas, and now you can't touch sensitive. Exactly. Yeah. Like to me, Mateo, you can't sneeze now without fucking offending somebody. And it's a bullshit. Like, I could not imagine being a stand-up comedian now. Because you cannot offend anybody. Like, I won't list the names, but like, there's so many fucking people that they get offended with this, that, and the other. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, let them fucking be funny. Like, really? Okay, he meant this maliciously. What? It's a fucking stand-up comedy routine. Why do you think there's malice there? Like, everybody with this Dave Chappelle, like, all his problems with Dave Chappelle. Like, Dave Chappelle's fantastic, one of the best comedians of all time. Like, everybody wants to shit on him because, like, I don't know, like, cancel yourselves. Everybody wants to cancel people for trying to be funny. Cancel yourself. Everyone has a balance. Yeah, no, you got to have a balance. But it's funny. It's just like very wide range. Like, a lot of people, they look at, a lot of people messaged me about this and were like, you like the Golden Girls? I'm like, yeah, I love the fucking Golden. Why not? It's fantastic. And it's like, yeah, I also love exploitation horror. Last week, we were talking about Dario Argento. The week before that, we were talking about Twilight Zone. Like, I think it's good to have variety, personally. You have a Grande heart, bro. Oh, thank you. I think so too. I guess I can agree with that. Gorehounds have feelings too. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Amen. Dude, thank you. Amen. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let them be funny. It's just enough. I love Blood and Guts and Pixar. I love trap music and Max B. And I have my playlist with Sting, my top played songs of 2021 were Kanye's album and Fields of Gold by Sting. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's nice to have fucking variety. That's so cool. And that's your thing. And that's for you. You like all that stuff, even though it's so different. That's the thing. Like, why can't things even so opposite, work? The whole opposites attract nonsense and saying and stuff. Yeah, it's true. Like, I like sappy episodes of the Golden Girls. I also like extreme, French extremity horror. I do, but they're both great for different reasons. They don't have to be the same. They're not the same. That's the whole point. Dave's the Carlin of this century. Dave Chappelle is fantastic. I think he's one of the best comedians of all time. And it's a shame that there's all this controversy. Oh, Grande, did you hear about the controversy? Really? Like, no, I don't want to talk about the controversy. I want to watch his, routine and laugh and be entertained. That's why you watch stand-up comedy, is it not? I just noted your PFP, Britt, LOL. Show me the rule book where I can't love the Jeffersons, spaghetti westerns, and classic slashers at the same time. Exactly. Show me that book, Red Rusty, and we'll take a big old shit in it. All right. We'll do the Dead Poet Society. Rip the pages out. Be gone, Mr. J. Evans Pritchard. That would be fun. That's why I love most of the horror community. We like other stuff besides horror. Most of my non-horror friends don't understand that. Yeah, no. I agree. It's a lot of people that don't like I did an episode on Teen Titans, and I couldn't believe the amount of people that were like, I love to hear you talk about this. And I was like, wow, I never thought that would interest people so much. But I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. And that was one of my favorite episodes I did, because that was one of my favorite shows. The world is crazy now. No wonder people obsess over media. It's the only thing that make people want to go on sometimes. Yeah, no. Like, that's why I don't have a Twitter. Twitter's so negative. It's just always constantly down. There's no, it's like making fun of somebody, making fun of this, making fun of that. It's like, it's just, I don't know. It's toxic. Twitter is very toxic. That's why I like Instagram. It's just like, okay, I want to see, like, cool. You want to share a picture of your dog? That's awesome. You love your dog? I'm cool with that. Like, it's like Twitter was just a negativity window that I just closed. I just fucking was like, all right, I'm done. Like, I can't listen to this anymore. It's just too much drama and politics and all this nonsense. It's like, I don't know. I'm too young. I don't even know if it's the age oriented, but it's like, I don't want to deal with shit like that right now. PFP means profile pictures for all you noobs out there. Okay. I swear to God. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Yeah, we all stand up on a fucking desk together. Oh, fucking Golden Girls, my Golden Girls. That would be hilarious, dude. Like, wherever that book is, we're ripping the fucking pages out, Robin Williams style. May he rest in peace, too. But okay, unless anybody wants to talk about anything else on here, I guess we can call it a show there. We went about, a little over an hour and a half. So that was my top 10 Golden Girls episodes. I guess technically top 11. I guess in rounding this up, I really loved this show. It was fun to pay tribute to all of them now that they've all passed on. Of course, Betty White being the most recent. And of course, to pay tribute to my grandmother who showed me the show and watched it countless times with me over the years of my youth. And I don't know, I kind of grew to love it and enjoy it. I definitely appreciate that from her. So I wanted to say cheers to all of the Golden Girls and cheers to my grandmother. I hope they're all, maybe just maybe got a chance to see this tonight. And I know they can't be physically in the chat, but it would be really cool, so, cheers to them. Bloodbound says, much love and peace to you all. Absolutely. Much love and peace to you too, Gid. Next live ideas, Grande. We got 2 episodes. They're booked for the next 2 weeks. Next week, we're doing a Cloverfield retrospective, which is going to be a lot of fun. And the following week, we're having Mr. Nightwatch Zone on and his whole cast of characters. Of course, Coriander. I'm not sure if Killian can make it yet. Unfortunately, I know he's very busy with work, so I don't know. But they are coming on for a horror roundtable where we are each going to pick 2 topics. The fans will be involved. The stream, you guys can comment along with us, and it'll be a live roundtable, which would be a lot of fun. Heart, cheers, heart. Thank you, Britt. Britt, you were here the whole time. Mateo, I believe you were here the whole time too. Thank you guys both so much for watching. It means a lot. Everybody give Grande a weird compliment. Night, everyone. Have a good one. Loved it. You always raise our spirits, Grande. Red Rusty, thank you so much, man. Have a great weekend, man. Rest in heaven with cheesecake galore, Golden Girls, and Grammy Grande. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So until next time, we will. Oh, wait a minute. Come on. Yay, love Nightwatch Zone. Yeah. I've been saying to him, I was like, man, I want to collaborate with you so bad. So finally, we got it pegged down. 2 Thursdays from tonight. Next week, Cloverfield retrospective. The following week, Nightwatch Zone and a horror roundtable. Going to be a lot of fun. Ronnie's looking skinny and like his eyebrows are filling out nicely. My eyebrows. Really? My eyebrows? Were they not filled in? I don't know. Now I'm going to be conscious about the Brit. I don't know. Thank you for this live Grande night to the chat too. Thank you for joining, Mateo. And thank you. Boy, I got some cute fingernails. Do I? I don't know. Maybe I should end this before it gets weird. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I guess Golden Girl style. Thank you for being a friend. We will catch you next time, next week, only on The Graveyard. 2 Sweet Peace, and we'll catch you next time. Everybody have a safe, wonderful weekend. Good night, everybody.